You ever sit there and think, why do I always end up being the one people take for granted? Like, you help, you show up, you listen, you forgive. And somehow, you're the one left drained. Yeah, we need to talk about that. Because nobody really tells you this. Being kind is beautiful, but being too kind, that can quietly ruin your life. And I know that sounds harsh, almost wrong to say, because we've been taught since childhood. Be nice, be kind, put others first. But what if I told you, some people don't see kindness as love, they see it as opportunity. Today we're diving into 7 dark truths about being too kind, and trust me, by the end of this you might never look at your kindness the same way again. And somewhere in all of this, we're going to touch on something deep that Carl Jung talked about, the part of you that you hide, just to be liked. 1. People don't respect what comes too easy. Let's start simple. If you're always available, always saying yes, always understanding, people get used to it. Not because they're evil, but because humans adapt fast. You ever notice this? The more you do for someone, the less they say, thank you. At first it's, wow, you're amazing. Then it becomes, well, that's just who you are. And suddenly, your effort becomes expected. And here's the uncomfortable truth. When something is always there, it loses value. That includes you. Funny thing is, the moment you say no one time, now it's a problem. Now you've changed. No, you didn't change. You just stopped over-giving. 2. Kindness without boundaries invites manipulation. This one hurts a little, because most overly kind people don't even realize it's happening. You think you're helping, but someone else is thinking, how far can I push this? Not everyone, of course, but enough people, and they don't always look like villains. Sometimes it's the friend who always needs a favor, the partner who guilt-trips you, the co-worker who disappears when it's your turn. And you? You feel bad saying no, so you keep giving, even when you're tired, even when it feels wrong. That's not kindness anymore. That's self-abandonment, and deep down, you know it. 3. You start losing your real self. Let me ask you something honestly. Do you even know what you want? Or are you so used to adjusting that your identity depends on who you're around? Because this is what happens when you're too kind. You become agreeable, flexible, easy to be around. But slowly, you disappear. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You agree with things you don't believe. You tolerate behavior that doesn't sit right. Why? Because you don't want conflict. You don't want to upset anyone. But here's the cost. Every time you silence yourself, you move further away from who you really are. 4. Resentment builds quietly. Now this is where it gets interesting. Because overly kind people don't usually explode. They don't argue. They don't confront. They absorb. Until one day, something small happens. And boom. You're reacting to everything all at once. And people are confused like, wait, where did that come from? It came from years of unspoken frustration. You gave when you didn't want to. You stayed when you should have left. You tolerated when you should have walked away. And now, your kindness has turned into resentment. That's the dark flip side nobody talks about. 5. You attract the wrong people. This one is subtle, but powerful. When you're too kind, you don't just attract good people. You attract people who need someone like you. People who take more than they give. People who sense you won't leave. And here's the painful part. Healthy people respect boundaries, but if you don't have any, guess who stays the longest? Exactly. And over time you start thinking, why do I always meet the same kind of people? It's not bad luck, it's patterns. 6. You confuse kindness with being liked. Let's be real for a second. A lot of people aren't just kind. They're afraid of being disliked, so they overcompensate. They please, they agree, they overgive, because being liked feels safe. But here's the truth. Being liked is not the same as being respected, and sometimes, the more you try to be liked, the less people actually value you, because you're not showing your truth, you're showing what you think people want, and that creates connections that aren't even real. 7. You suppress your shadow. Now this is where it gets deep. That idea Jung talked about, the shadow, the parts of you that are angry, selfish, assertive, bold, but you hide them, because they don't fit the nice image, so you push them down. You pretend they're not there, but they don't disappear. They build, in the background. And the more you ignore them, the more they come out in unhealthy ways. Passive aggression, burnout, emotional distance. Real strength isn't about being nice all the time, it's about integrating both sides, your kindness and your power. So, what does all this mean? Should you stop being kind? No, that's not the point. The world doesn't need less kindness. It needs stronger kindness. Kindness with boundaries. Kindness with self-respect. Kindness that doesn't cost your identity. Because the truth is, you were never meant to be everything for everyone. And maybe the real growth isn't learning how to give more, but learning when to stop, and who actually deserves that version of you. So now I'm curious, when was the last time you chose yourself, without feeling guilty? If this hit you in any way, like even a small part of you felt seen while listening to this, don't just scroll past it. Pause for a second, breathe, and ask yourself honestly, where in my life am I being too kind, at my own expense? Because awareness like this, it doesn't come often, and when it does, it's usually trying to tell you something. So yeah, drop a comment, not something perfect, not something deep if you don't feel like it, just real. Maybe it's a situation you're dealing with, maybe it's a pattern you've started noticing, or maybe it's just you saying, yeah, this is me. I read those, all of them. And sometimes you'll realize you're not the only one going through it. That alone can shift something inside you. And if you felt this, if you connected with this kind of conversation, then you'll probably want more of it, so you can subscribe. No pressure. Just know this space. It's for people who are starting to see things differently, people who are waking up to their patterns, their habits, their quiet compromises, and deciding. Maybe it's time to change something. Not all at once, not perfectly, just consciously. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about becoming less kind. It's about becoming real. And learning that choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. We're just getting started.